If your mind was a mansion, would you even want to live there? We're live, family. Hey, do me a favor. Drop your one word of intention in the chat for this week. Whatever you're thinking, whatever your goal is for the week, drop that one word in the chat. Tone.com. Good to see you on Instagram, my friend. Jessica, good to see you on Facebook. Chip, good to see you on LinkedIn, my friend. It's been a minute. Oh, yeah. So glad that you're here. Don Kirk, Lewis, Danny, good to see you on YouTube, my friend. Yeah. So glad that y'all are in the space, in the place. Udine, hey, good to see you this morning, Udine. What is going on in the building? Yeah. All right. Good. Do me a favor, my friends. If you want to know when we are going live, yes. If you want to know when we are going live, text live to 240-557-8679. 240-557-8679. Instagram people, it looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with our feed over there. Join us on YouTube or just go to MondayMindsetMovement.com and you can get us there. All right. All right. So we're at our updated time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, and the time is updated because after the show, you can join me for the Monday Mindset Movement Level Up. You and other business owners can come chat and hang out for a bit with us, and I'll share with you how you can get to us. Go to MondayMindsetMovement.com/Zoom, and you come on, hang out with us live for that. All right. So yes, yeah, I'm excited about the show this morning. If your mind was a mansion, would it be a dream home or a demolition zone? Let's go. Let's talk about it this morning. Oh yeah, I'm loving this. Udine says, praise the Lord for the new time. Oh yeah, listen, I'm so glad to be here with y'all this morning for the Monday Mindset Movement. Yes, 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 yes. I said it. If your mind was a mansion, would it be a dream home or a demolition zone? Yeah, before we jump on in, let me tell you about the Amplify 2-day intensive. Going to be in Washington, D.C., August 27th and 28th. Come on, join us. If you want to level up your voice, if you want to level up your video, if you want to be more visible and skyrocket your sales, come on, hang out with us for 2 days in the Washington, D.C. area on the 27th and 28th. All you got to do is go to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com and you will get that information to register for our session. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be great. Dr. Lorinda Jones, good to see you. TL Speaks, so glad that you are here. Yeah, I'm glad. All right, so listen, y'all, let's jump on it. Let's jump on into this thing. Let us jump on into this thing. My buttons ain't working. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll figure that out. Oh yeah, so the other day I noticed something. I had been going to bed pretty late. Oh, yeah, I'm all up in my face right now. Let's go faster. Let's go closer. All right, there we go. All right. The other day, I had noticed something. I was going to bed pretty late because I was working on something. And when I say the other day, a few months ago, I was working on something and I was creating a summit. I was creating our Amplify Summit, and I was going to bed pretty late, and it reminded me of back in the day when I first began to build business. I would build business and I would go to bed super late. Yeah. All right. Let me get us turned this way properly. All right. Yeah. I would go to bed super late, but it didn't even matter to me because I was in the space of passion. I was in the space of doing something awesome, doing something amazing. If you have ever been in that space, let me know. Let me know. If you've ever been in that space where you're just in flow, you're in the zone, And it doesn't even matter how late you stay up because you're just like, yeah, I'm in this zone right now. Right. And so I was in this space and I was just building, I was doing stuff. And the first time somebody came by and said something to me, I remember my wife coming to me and saying, "Hey babe, you're up pretty late." Or she would say, "What time did you go to bed, come to bed last night?" And I'd say, "Yeah, I came to bed pretty late." And she would ask, "How you feeling?" And I would say, "Man, I'm tired. I'm tired." Right? And I would get calls from people, or I would get calls from friends, or be having conversations, and they would say, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I'm tired. I've been doing this work for the summit. I've been doing all this stuff, and I'm tired." And my kids would ask me, and other people would ask me, and they would say, and my response would be, "I'm tired." But then I remembered a phrase, and I share this with people all the time. And I remember this phrase, and the phrase said that the most powerful words, the two most powerful words in the English language are the words "I am," because what comes after that shapes your destiny or determines your destiny, right? So if I said, "I'm tired," contraction, "I am tired," then that's what I became, right? So I said, let me try something different instead. I started changing what I was sharing or what I was saying. And I decided to say, you know what? When somebody said, "How are you feeling?" I would say, you know what? I'm in wind down mode, prepping for something amazing. Yeah. I would say, I'm in wind down mode, prepping for something awesome. And here's what would happen. I noticed that the statement, when I said it, it would make me laugh and it would fire me up. Every time I said it, my mind would trigger differently. Right? I would just begin to feel a little bit different. And it would just be different than me simply saying the words, "I'm tired." Instead of saying "I'm tired," I would say, "I'm in wind down mode for something, preparing for something amazing." Yes, Faizun, Faizun, Faizun. Is it Faizun? I keep messing your name up. All right, Faizun, come on. How you doing? Good to see you this morning. Yeah, I would say I noticed that statement would just fire me up. Right? I'm in wind down mode, prepping for something amazing. So here's what I want you to understand and get from this. The words that I said literally affected my physiology, because when I would say those words, I would laugh and I would prep and I would notice that my body felt differently. Right? That doesn't say that I wasn't fatigued or the cells or my muscles weren't fatigued. But I would notice that I would mentally look at the feeling that I was feeling differently. Question for you. Do you believe that the words that you say can influence the behavior of someone else or the direction of a group? For example, when people protest with signs, are their words making any difference? Do you believe that your words can influence the behavior of someone else or the direction of a group? When people protest, are their words making any difference? When your spouse asks you a question, do your words make a difference? At work, does what you say or how you say it make a difference? If my wife asks me the question, "Hey, babe, how do I look in this dress?" Do my words, do my responses make a difference? Right? If at work, my supervisor, my boss, my team, somebody asks me a question, do my words make a difference? Of course it does. As Udine says, absolutely. Our words have power. So, why is it that we have such a hard time believing, if we know that the words that we say to others make a difference? Hey, Jazz Notes, Good to see you on Instagram. If we know that the words that we say out loud out of our mouth to other people make a difference, why is it that we have such a hard time believing that the words we say to ourselves, verbally or internally, make a difference? I know we know some of that. But do we practice it? Do we practice it? If your mind was a mansion, would it be a dream home or a demolition zone? And I ask that question because your words are like bricks. The more that you use them, the more that you state them, the more that it builds. So if your mind was a mansion, would your mind be a mansion? Would it be a dream home or would it be a demolition zone? I got to put Dorian's statement on screen here. Dorian says, you better use the best words when answering your wife. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Dorian. Thank you for that, Dorian. Let me give you another story, another example. Jim Carrey. How many of you know Jim Carrey? Go ahead and type yes if you know Jim Carrey. For those of you that know or don't know Jim Carrey, back in the 80s, early 90s, Jim Carrey was an actor on a show called In Living Color. All right? But even as Jim Carrey was on that show, Jim Carrey, especially at the beginning of that show, was what we would call a struggling actor. We see people on TV, we see people in places of fame, and we think, oh my gosh, they've got it made. But early on, in a lot of cases, they are not making a lot of money. They're just kind of struggling like everybody else. Jim Carrey was a struggling actor. And so Jim Carrey, at the age of 12 or so, his dad had a high-paying job, but his dad lost his job. And so it plunged the family into this place of despair. So the kids, Jim included, had to begin working to support the family. So he's about 12, 13, 14 years old at this point. He begins to work. At the age of 16, Jim Carrey was working as a janitor to help his family out. All right. And then at the age of 15, I said then, I'm going backwards. At the age of 15, he decided that, he was, from what you see of Jim Carrey, he is he is a physical actor, right? So he decided he was going to try his hand at stand-up comedy at the age of 15. So he did that for a little while and was opening up for some local acts, trying to get better at it. Wasn't that great just yet, but was focused on this dream. So at about 21, he decided he was going to move to Hollywood so that he could try his hand at acting, right? So in about 1984, he got a small part in a movie called Finders Keepers, but he was not only struggling with the acting, like most of us, he was also struggling with the doubt. He's struggling with the doubt. How many of you have been doing something? How many of you have been taking on a passion or a project or a business or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Raising my hand, right? Entrepreneurship is that journey. You if you have been an entrepreneur, if you've been a part, I was just talking about this with someone yesterday. You go through these moments where you're like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? I should just go back and do something regular. I should just go back and get a job. I should just go back and do something else, right? So Jim Carrey was in this space where he was struggling. He was asking himself, why am I here? So as he is in this place struggling, he decides that he's going to do something. And if you've heard this story before, you know how amazing this is. He decided that he was going to do something. So somewhere in the 80s, he decided that he was going to write himself a check. So he wrote himself a check. He got out his checkbook. This was back in the day when they used checkbooks. I mean, I might still have a checkbook somewhere. Yeah, right? He got himself a check and he wrote a check for $10 million. Took out his pen, put the pen to the check, and wrote 10. And I can imagine in his mind, he's saying 10 million. But as he put the number 10 down, he begins to struggle and say, oh my gosh, should I put this next word? Then he writes million, $10 million, right? $10 million in number form. Then he writes it in word form. And then he puts those two X's at the end. Then he signs the check. And on the date at the top, he puts November 1995. So this is in the 80s. And he writes himself a check for $10 million. Then he put it in his wallet, folded it, and put it in his wallet. Then he kept working, kept acting, kept working, kept acting, put his head down, kept working, kept acting. Every time he went out to the store, he would open up his wallet to get some money out, but he would see that check. He'd open up the check, he'd look at the check, fold it back up, and put it back in. Kept working, kept acting, kept doing comedy gigs, doing slow or low-paying gigs, kept working, kept acting. Then he gets the In Living Color gig. Yeah, he's working, he's acting. Not big just yet, but he keeps working, he keeps acting. Goes to the store, takes out cash, sees the check, folds it up, puts it back in. Somewhere about 1995, just before Thanksgiving, Jim Carrey found out that he got the part for this movie called Dumb and Dumber. Right? How many of you remember that? I remember that show. I remember that movie. Right? And his pay for that movie, $10 million. Now, before you go all manifesting on me, what Jim did, he didn't make something come to pass magically, because that's not how this works. What he did was he visualized something, he thought something, he put something in his mind, he created something in his mind, and then he placed a reminder in front of himself of who he was, what he was worth, and what he was working towards. I'll say that one more time. Jim he visualized something. He created a thought in his brain. He visualized it. And then he put in front of himself, he placed a reminder in front of himself of who he was, what he was worth, and what he was working towards. Some of us, we write stuff down, or we think about these goals and we say, oh, we're manifesting, and then we expect it to magically happen. But I'll say this, the time between Jim Carrey writing the check and receiving the check, that in between, those are some tough years. Those are some tough years. Can you imagine thinking about something, visualizing something, and then in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, in all of the in-betweens, all of the struggle, all of the crazy, all of the challenge is happening. At any time in between check writing and check receiving, he could have quit. He could have said, oh my God, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to get to that place. As a matter of fact, Jim Carrey himself told Oprah, he said, a lot of people say stuff and then they ask, when is it going to come? When is it going to come? But he says, but instead of waiting for it to come, when you put something out there, you still have to move towards it. You still have to do the work. You still have to do the work. Right? I like to say it like this. You become what you think. Either you rise or you sink. You still have to think it and then do it after the thought. So as we begin to land the plane a little bit today, I want to walk through some stuff here. I like to give some action items and some action steps that you can do. So I love what Udine says here. She says he was motivated by the words that he wrote, and that's what he decided to work towards. Power of the mind. Yeah, I love that, Udine. All right, let me put that on screen for everybody. He was motivated by the words that he wrote, and that's what he decided to work towards. Power of the mind. Yeah, I love that. So as we think about, as we move forward here, here's some action steps I want you to take on. Number 1, I want you to audit your inner dialogue. I want you to audit your inner dialogue. I want you to write down, what are the 3 most repeated phrases in your mind this week? Just pay attention. I want you to pay attention differently. this week? I want you to pay attention differently. What are the 3 things that you say in your mind quite a bit? When you get up first thing in the morning, what is the first thing that you say? What is something that you remember thinking over and over and over again during the week? And then I want you to think about, are they helpful or are they harmful? What are you saying? I know for me, one of the things that I say sometimes is, I'm tired. As I shared that earlier on, I'm tired. Some of you might be saying regularly, why am I doing this? No one listens. What are some repeated phrases? You might say some of them out of your mouth, but before they come out of your mouth, they're right in here. And there are some things that you don't say out of your mouth. What are they? I want you to write those down. I want you to be real with yourself. I want you to audit, because this is the first step towards change, assessment, evaluation. You've got to be honest with yourself about what you're saying. What are you saying to yourself? Okay, so I want you to write that down. Audit your inner dialogue. Second thing I want you to do is architect the upgrade. Architect the upgrade. Each of those statements that you have admitted to sharing or saying, I want you to replace those with a power phrase that speaks into your future instead of into your fear. So, for example, as I shared before, what I said for I'm so tired, instead of saying I'm tired, I say I'm in wind down mode, preparing for something amazing. That is my power statement. Or I could say my body feels tired, but it's just resting up for a powerful tomorrow. Doesn't that just feel different? Or instead of saying no one listens, try replacing that with my entire aura will shout that I have something important to share. Yeah. Yeah. And for some of you that say, well, that's why is that so long? It seems long. Well, listen, if you're willing to put in the work of sharing a couple more words that will make something even more powerful, how much more likely is it that you will stick to it and focus on it? If you are just copping out because of a couple of words, right? Why not be intentional about the words that you share with yourself? Even before you talk to other people, why not be intentional and add in power into what you have to share with yourself? Yeah. Then number 3, say it like you mean it, y'all. Say it like you mean it. I want you to speak your power words and your upgraded blueprint out loud every day this week. I want you to do that, because when you are able to not just think it, but when you say it and then your ears can hear it and you begin to interact with those power words with more senses, right? So I've heard it. I've thought it. Well, thinking is not a sense, but it is a sense. Right? But if I can think it and then I can say it, I can feel the vibration coming out of my mouth and then I can hear it, then the likelihood of me being able to eventually touch it increases. Right? So I want you to speak your upgraded blueprint out loud every day this week. That's right, Dorian. Dorian says, say it with your chest. That's right. That's right. Listen, y'all, I will say that again. Number 1, this week, I want you to audit your inner dialogue. I want you to audit your inner dialogue. Think about what you're repeating to yourself daily. And then number 2, architect that upgrade. Architect the upgrade. Replace each of those statements with a power phrase that speaks into your future and not into your fear. And then number 3, say it like you mean it. Say it out loud like you mean it. Listen, y'all, you are the architect of your experience. You are the architect of your experience. If you don't like the building, it's time to redesign the blueprint. Hey, before we launch into a powerful Monday, I want to share 3 items with you. Hey, number 1, I want you to join me in the Amplify community. Head on over to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com, or you can just go to mondaymindsetmovement.com and you can join the community there. We'll talk a lot more about how to upgrade your voice and how to upgrade video, how to increase and improve your visibility utilizing those two vehicles. All right. Monday Mindset Movement Level Up right after this. Hey, if you want to be a part of the in-person, not the in-person, the live, the interactive, we're going to hop on Zoom. We're going to chat. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to go back and forth. I want to hear what's resonating with you. I want to hear what's happening in your world. Let's just mastermind for a little bit. MondayMindsetMovement.com/Zoom. Join me in just a couple of minutes here. And then number three, the number 3 thing is I want you to join me for the Amplify Voice and Video 2-day intensive in Washington, D.C., August 27th and 28th. Go to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com and you can join us for that. Come on. If you got any questions, let me know. Hey, let's end with this. How can you turn your day from reaction into creation? Right? How can you turn your day from reaction into creation? Instead of just responding to what everybody else does, how can you create your day? James Allen in his book says, As a Man Thinketh, says it like this. He says, as he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains. Yeah. If you want to know when we are live, text live to 240-557-8679. Don't forget to share the show and join me next week, Monday, for the Monday Mindset Movement. Oh, yeah. Until next time, my friends, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story. I'll see you. Peace.